Hey everybody, this is Nicole. This is my first time doing a kind of like a tutorial video, so you'll have to excuse, the lighting, the setup. I've never done anything like this before. I mean, I've done a few videos just taking like little quick shots of like animated cards and stuff like that. Or not animated, but interactive cards, but never a tutorial on how to do something. So I decided to work with what I had today. But anyway, a few weeks ago, I ran across a video, but the name of the video was titled JAYG. It was a 4-part video, tutorials, and it was put out by Twilight Taggers. I love the concept. I mean, I learned how to do corner to corner just a few weeks ago. And I knocked out a couple of, decent sized little Afghans and loved it. I started watching videos on doing the blocks and attaching the blocks. Well, I didn't like how people were attaching them, getting all these ridges, kind of like you do a lot of times when you do granny squares and stuff like that. And especially doing them for a baby. Who wants to lay a baby on something that's got, little ridges and stuff in it? So I love the concept. I'm not sure she's the one who created the concept, but I'm going to give her credit because she's where I learned the concept from. So I immediately pulled out some really cute spring colors and thought, okay, I'm going to knock one of these out. And believe me, they go together very, very quickly. Now, I did much larger blocks. These I only done like 4 squares wide. I'm going to call each of these a block, which is what they are. I'm going to call each section of stitches squares. So then you'll know when I'm talking throughout the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I did it. I did it almost like 75 inches wide. And, I did it 4 rows high. And my husband was sitting here when I was doing it. So he ran to get us some lunch. And I thought, well, while he's gone, I'm going to stop and I'm going to lay this out and take a look at it. When I laid it out, I immediately noticed that there was a big difference. That something didn't look right. And you may ask, what is she talking about? Let me zoom in a little bit here. Let me pull this up. If you notice here, now I had a much bigger piece. This is just a small swatch. And matter of fact, this yarn is very hard to work with. This was the yarn I used today. I kept pulling it out and redoing it. And so it's really getting really splitty and hard to work with because it wants to split. But this is row 1. If you'll notice here, you have all of these little ridges. These ridges are formed from where, like, when you crochet this on top of this, you're crocheting into the previous chain 3 that you had made on that block. So it creates all these little ridges or divots or whatever you might want to call them. But it gives it a unique pattern look. And if you look at it from different angles, it was really pretty. If you flip this over to the back, or to the other side, you will notice that all these ridges now are not at the top. They are all at a side angle. Well, that's all well and good for row 1. Looks pretty on both sides. Me personally, I preferred this side over here. So, the problem was, when I laid it out, row 1 all looked uniform on the first row. Row 2 looked uniform from block 2 over. Row 3 matched row 1 from block 2 over. Row 4 matched row 1 from block 2 over. It was the first row on the first block on row 2, 3, and 4 where the ridges were flipped and turned sideways. Well, I immediately thought, man, I did something wrong there. I thought I really messed this up. So I immediately pulled out. Well, first my husband came back from lunch and I asked him if he noticed anything about the Afghan that looked different. He spotted it right away. Of course, he was very nonchalant about it and said, oh, well, no big deal. I wouldn't worry about it. Well, he knows how I am when it comes to crafts. I'm OCD. Everything has to look uniform and stuff. So I knew it wasn't going to work. So I went back to the tutorial. I left a comment. I asked if anybody else had noticed it. And if anybody knew if there was a way to not have that happen. I didn't receive any response. So I just let it go for that day. The next morning I got up and it was just driving me nuts. I thought, I cannot do this. I can't give this away or sell this or anything, when somebody lays it out, it's so noticeable. Because basically what's going to happen is if you got a 5 foot long Afghan, one whole side of that Afghan, starting with the second row up, is going to look different on both sides than all the other blocks on that side. So, you know, maybe a lot of people, it doesn't bother me. It really bothered me. So I sit down and I pulled out rows, you know, and, you know, doing this, you end each block. So, you know, I had all these little piles of thread sitting, and, you know, yarn everywhere where I had undone each and every block. Thank God I had not weaved in any of the ends yet at that point. So I was actually able to, like, reuse most of the yarn. So I undid it. And I thought, well, I did something wrong. So I went back to her video. I think it's number 3. Yeah, it's video number 3. That's the one where she shows you. Video 1, she just shows you this beautiful, beautiful Afghan that she had did. And she did it, you know, in larger blocks, of course. But she did it, each block was in a different color. It was really stunning. That's what made me want to try it. Block 2, she showed you how to, you know, well, she didn't show you how to make the first block, because like she says, she presumes you already knew how to do corner to corner and to make a block, but she showed you how to attach, you know, each additional block on row 1, and, you know, and told you how you had to work from right to left. So block 3 was where she showed you how to attach, video 3 was where she showed you how to attach the first block of each row after row 1. I watched that video and I watched the video. Well, she has you turn your work and start your square, your first square here. Well, I did it. Didn't work. I did it again. It didn't work. I kept thinking there is something I'm missing. But I kept watching the video and there was really nothing I was missing. So I pulled out the last thing. I thought, well, let me watch video 4. So when I get to video 4, the very first thing that you'll notice, and if you go to video 4 and look at hers and pause it, like, 2 seconds into the video, is a great shot where she shows you row 1 of her swatch. She shows you where she's already attached row 2, the first block of row 2. Well, if you'll look at her row 1, every one of her little ridges, divots, whatever you want to call them, look just like mine do here. They're all at kind of like the top, because this would be your bottom. They're all at the top. When you look at her attached block 1 on row 2, you will notice those ridges are now turned sideways there. So I thought, well, I know now it's not something I was doing wrong. So I thought, well, there's got to be something that I can do about this. So I tried doing different things and different things and different things, and I kept trying to, flip the work and start it like she was starting it and trying different things. Nothing was working. So then I thought, well, I'm just going to sit and watch all of video 4 again. So when I watched video 4, naturally she already had block 1 of row 2 attached. She was starting to show you how to attach block 2 of row 2. And I noticed that when she starts it, she did not flip the work. Like here, she was having us flip the work to start attaching block 1 of row 2. But on all the other blocks on that row, we weren't flipping the work. We were starting from the front side. So I thought, why are we flipping the work on that? That's what's causing it to get turned sideways. So I thought, okay, I need to start on the front. Well, stupid me, I kept thinking I needed to start here. I tried every way in the world to start here and work the square. Wasn't working out. It was still it was not looking, the ridges weren't turning out like they were supposed to. So then I sit and I thought about it and I thought about it, and then it was finally like a light bulb went off. I thought, wait a minute. On every block on row 2, like block 2, block 3, block 4, etc., on row 2, she does not flip the work. She starts basically, she actually starts in between the blocks, but it's still kind of like the top right-hand corner. she is starting on the front top right hand corner. She is not starting on the left and working backwards. She's not flipping the work and working. She's starting in there. So I thought, well, common sense then would say if you want the blocks to look uniform on both sides, then you're going to have to start in the far right corner of the first row to start your block for row 2. So first I thought I would give it a try, you know, of doing it one way. So I started off over here in the corner and I attached my yarn, and I, you know, done chain 3, and then I done, you know, 3 double crochets, which worked out perfect because if you'll notice this block here, the bars run vertically, and I needed the bars to be horizontal. So I couldn't do a chain 6, crochet in the first 3 and then attach it, because that would make the bars vertical too, because every time you do a chain 6 and then crochet in the 4th, 5th, and 6th from the hook and bring it over and attach it, those bars are going to be vertical. I needed horizontal bars. So that took me a few minutes to figure it out. So the way you accomplish that is, and I can tell you can attach any way you want. I tried attaching with a slip knot and different things. I have found if you want the most accurate look is to tie your yarn on. And when I say tie it on, I mean tie it on in this hook over here in the far bottom corner so that it comes out to the edge. You're going to chain 3. You're going to bring that chain 3 across and down, and you're going to attach that chain 3 between square 1 and square 2. The reason you got to do that is if you, as you already know, in everything that we attach, we are attaching it into a chain 3. And it's usually the chain 3 of whatever color yarn you're using for that new block. So we have to attach here. So yes, your chain 3 is going to be in a different hole than your 3 double crochets, but that's the only way you can do it. So attach your yarn here, chain 3, bring it down and attach it between square 1 and square 2. That gives you your working thing. Then once you attach it, you chain 3, turn your work, do your 3 double crochets. Now when you do your 3 double crochets, do not crochet into that thing that you tied into to start with. Crochet your 3 double crochets into that new chain 3 you just made. Once you do your 3 double crochets, we'll start from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to attach my yarn, and then we'll take it from there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, y'all are going to have to excuse this yarn, and I'm not going to worry about tying it and all of that stuff because I'm going to be, like, pulling all this apart as soon as this video's over. So I'm just going to, like, sloppily slip stitch into here because I'm just showing you the concept. So do your slip stitch in or attach it however you want, but do try to attach it over into that far corner. All right, come on, pull tight. All right, once you do that, then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to come over between. Now see how these bars are running vertically now on the top of every row from now on. The first block, the bars are not going to be horizontal like they were when you were attaching here and here and here. They're going to be vertically. So that means we have to make these bars horizontal. Or wait a minute, am I wrong? Let's see, that's vertical. Yeah, horizontal. Okay. I hope I'm right. I don't know. I'm done getting so confused. I've done tried to shoot this video 2 or 3 times, and everything that could go wrong has went wrong. Okay, so you do your chain 3. Bring that over. Slip stitch it in between square 1 and square 2. Alright. That gives us a working chain. And I think I explained a while ago. You're going to have to attach into this here. That's not going to really matter. Right now it's noticeable that your chain is not into the same thing like it normally is, but trust me, when you get ready to put your border on, that's going to cover that up. It's never going to be noticeable. It is the only way to attach that and make this working chain. And if you notice in video 4, when she gets ready to attach box 2, this is exactly the same concept she makes. She she slip stitch into here, she chains 3, she attaches it here, she chains 3, she flips the work and does 3 double crochets. We're doing the same thing, the exact same thing. We are attaching this the same way as all the other blocks on all the other rows are attached from row 2 up. The only difference is we have to start in this corner, and you have to go into that little pink, well, mine's pink, but into your area. So you slip stitch, you're going to chain 3. You're going to flip your work. Did I flip my work the way I wanted to? All right, let's see here. Let me get this straightened out. I should have tied that. That's going to drive me crazy. But whatever. We're just, like I said, we're just doing this for demonstration. Okay. So you've tied, and I do suggest tying it so, see, it doesn't move. Slips, bring it over, slip stitch, do your chain 3, flip your work. Now, when you get ready to do your 3 double crochets, even though this is down into there, you're automatically gonna think that's where you need to go because that's in there. Do not go in there. You don't want nothing but just that joining in there. So you're going to do your 3 double crochets into that chain you just made. Well, I could never do this without a better setup because I see what people are talking about now when they say sometimes it's really hard to see through the the viewfinder and everything. All right, so now this is what you should look like. You're on the back side, your tail is here, your stitch marker is on the bottom. You are looking at this, you have your tail coming out through that little hole in the pink because that's the only way to attach into that far corner. You have, got your 3, you got your chain 3 here, and you've done your 3 double crochet. Now we're going to go on to build boxes the way we normally do. You're going to do your chain 6, and I usually crochet very tight, but this yarn's getting so frazzled that I'm having to crochet a whole lot looser, and I'm not used to that. And let's see what I'm saying, it's wanting to split. Boy, is it wanting to split. Okay, so come in and do your chain. What I cannot see. Okay, let's just try this again. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're going to come in, we're going to crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. You know how to do all this. So I hope that this don't confuse you because this is something you should all know by now if you've been doing the corner to corner. Like I said, this yarn is really bad. I don't have the best setup. I'm trying to look through something here. And actually my hands and stuff are about 3 feet away from my body. So it's really making it hard for me to see. I'm old anyway. Alright, so you've done your last chain 3. Your last double crochet. And now both of your, okay, now if you look, it's kind of like if you hold that out, this is all hanging down. All right, and you got your you got your stitch here and your stitch here. Well, it's just like everything else. You want to bring this up. Well, like that. You want to bring that up so that, it's lined up like this. And you want to attach. So now this is what you should have. You should have your stitch marker, your tail here, and you should have 2 squares out here lined up at the bottom. Alright, so there you're just going to keep going, and I'm sure from here, most of y'all could probably figure this on out, but I'll go ahead and work it. Alright, so you've attached your blocks, you're going to chain 3, then you're going to do 3 double crochet. Boy, I've never crocheted this loose in my life. Okay, so now you got what I would call a loosey-goosey. See, that can like just fold over. That ain't what you want because you want that bottom straight. You're going to come over here and you're going to attach it between square 1 and square 3. Square 2 and square 3. Then slip stitch. If you can hold your yarn on there, if you could see what you were doing, would help. I gotta figure out a better way to look through this. Okay, so slip stitch. Alright, once you slip stitch, it's just like on all the others. You're going to chain 3. And then That's loosey-goosey. So it's got to be attached. So you're going to come over here and you've done 1, 2. So you're going to attach between square 3 and 4. And slip stitch. There we go. If I bring it closer when I'm slip stitching, I can see it. Alright, now we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so our work should be looking like this now. If you laid it out, you got your tail here, your thing, and you basically got stitch 1, 2, and 3. You have chained 3 to make your next little working chain here. Then you've chained up 3. So now you're going to turn your work, and you're going to do 3 double crochets into that little chain you just made. If I can get all this stuff out of my way. Alright, so now 3 double crochets into here. And I'm sorry if I'm having to bring it up so close, but when I move it back that far, I cannot see it all. Okay, so you have a loosey-goosey. You've got to attach it to the top, chain 3 of the stitch, the square that's right next to it. So bring it through and slip stitch. Do a chain 3. And then 3 double crochets. Boy, I tell you what, this just ain't working right for me tonight. I have a better appreciation for people who do these videos now than I ever have before. I mean, I've always been appreciative, but I most definitely have a whole new perspective. Okay, so you had a loosey-goosey, you got to attach it. Alright, since we've only got 2 boxes here and we need 4, we're going to have to make another box. So we're going to do our chain 3, or we're going to fill in that box there. And then 3 double crochets. Okay, so now we've got square 1, 2, and 3. So we need to build another box, because if we don't build another box, unless we close this off, we can't start back down. So to build a box, what do? We do our chain 6. And you know the routine here. I'm not going to spell it out. I might have done one too many chains there, but for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to worry about it. Yes, I did. Something ain't right. Okay. Okay, now let's try to get in that hole. If I could see, would help. I may next time have to, like, bring down my magnifying glass in front of this too. That way I can see. Okay, and then our last stitch here. Hopefully I went into the right place. I didn't go back into the same one. Nope, I went right back into the same one. I actually think I skipped a stitch, but I'm just going to park it here. It's, like I said, this is not going to be for anybody. Okay, so here we are again. We have those 2 down. So we need to take this bottom and we need to flip it up. And we're going to join the boxes. And then it's just the same thing again. If you look here, you've got your tail here, your markers up, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And then 2, and then 1. So here you're just going to do, fill in this box, attach, make a, fill in that box, attach, fill in that box, attach, and I'll meet you back there. Most of y'all probably won't even have to watch this all the way through. Once I explained it, y'all probably were able to just take right off and do it. By the way, I made this video for everybody who wants to, keep their ridges the same way. But what inspired me today to make this video was I was contacted by a lady. Let's see, what is her name? I wrote it down. It is Cheryl William Willis. She had seen my comment on the original tutorial video and wanted to know if anybody had ever answered me, if I had figured it out. So I told her I would try to do a video. I did tell her it probably wouldn't be a very good video, but she said that was okay. Okay, so you have a loosey-goosey, and we're at our last square here. So we're going to attach between the four, between the two blocks. And slip stitch. Okay, and since we're at our very last one, now I didn't do it on my one that I finished the other day after I figured out how to do the first block on each row after row 1, but I'm going to try it on this one. She did a chain 3 to close off the blocks, and then she turned her work, and then she went in and she, instead of like slip stitching into each one across. And I got to thinking about that. That might be pretty good when you get ready to add a border, because all of them around the edges are going to have those, those chain 3s there. All right, so we slip stitch. So now we got to fill in this block, chain 3, 3 double crochet. Tell you what, having to hold the crochet work and everything differently, like I said, I have a new perspective and gratitude toward the people who do this stuff all the time. So we're going to do the next block. We attach that to this, and we're going to do our chain 3 and our 3 double crochet. And your block may be bigger, you may have more squares. So, when I'm closing off a block, you may be still having to move on, to finish off. But this is, that's how you would have closed off when you get to the end there. All right, we have a loosey-goosey. We're going to close her up to this block. Shoot, could be a man, huh? Calling a loosey-goosey just a woman. It could be a male. Okay, chain 3. Yeah. And that didn't close out right, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. Like I said, this is all going to get thrown away anyway. This yarn has had it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to pull that stitch out just to change it. I don't think it's really going to matter because I'm fixing to close this off anyway. Okay, so we got another loosey-goosey here. And let's count. We're on 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, did I go too far? 2, 3, 4. Okay, no, so this is our last one here. So we don't need to build a box or anything. We're going to slip stitch. Let me make sure that's right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all right. So we're ready to close this one off. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to slip stitch it into here. And we've only got a few more blocks. Chain 3 to fill in this one. And 3 double crochet. Okay, loosey-goosey, connect. And slip stitch. And fill in this block. Chain 3 and 3 double crochets. I don't even know about all this focusing and everything. I guess I'll tell when the video's done. Alright, so we are at our last one here. So, or are we? Yeah, we're at our last one. So we're going to take this loosey-goosey and we're going to connect it to the top of that one with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 3. Turn our work. And then slip stitch in to the top of that one. Alright, we're going to fill in this block with a chain 3. And 3 double crochets if you can get in there. one more. And we are at the end. So we want to slip stitch. And I'm doing this pretty loose, and like I said, I can't see, so that's not as tight and everything as it would be if you were doing it the correct way. So we're going to chain 3. Or I've seen some people who stitch very loose anyway. And then crochet, then slip stitch into the end. Good view of this. Am I okay? Yeah, I was blown in. Okay. All right. So I just finished that block. Now that's adding 1, 2. Okay. Now do you see how all my ridges now are up? Let me zoom in a little bit, and you can see. See how all the ridges are at the top. All of them are here and here and here and here and there. So now that whole front looks just alike. And if I flip it over, the back looks just alike. All the ridges now are going to the side. So now you're going to have a uniform block front and back. And like I said, when you finish, you can determine what you want to be the front and the back. But I do recommend, you know, because it can be confusing when you first start off, is to block, you know, this side here with the ridges up and your tail in the bottom right and pin that. That way you always know this is the front while you're working, and all of it will balance out. Now, like I said a while ago, once you get this block done, go back to her video and she will show you how to connect block 2 for row 2, block 3 for row 2, etc., etc., etc. Then when you get to row 3, come back if you don't remember, and remember you got to start over here in this corner. And again, you're going to start up underneath that little ridge right there. You're going to tie it off or slip stitch it. I do recommend tying it off. It makes for a neater work. You're going to chain up 3. You're going to come over, and you're going to attach that between the first and the second block right there, between the first and second block. So, yep, you would tie off there, chain up 3, come over, and there's the first block. So you would want to attach it here, chain 3, flip your work, come back and do your 3 double crochet, and then follow on. But that's how you can get all your blocks working. And like I said, the key to this is every block on here after this first block. When you attach this block, it's actually attached in the top right hand corner. It's just you're flipping your work here and you're attaching it in the top right hand corners here. But then once you get row 1 done, and there's really no flipping there, not back and forth except for like in the middle. But here, from here on, every row, every block is attached in the top right corner. It's just these here is kind of like in between the blocks, but it still ends up being kind of like in that top right corner, and that makes it meet good. And if you tie this off here, oh, if I pull that little stray up, you'll see that keeps that off over there in that corner, keeps your edges straight. And even though that's down into the pink, when on everything else it would be up here into that chain 3, once you come back and you put a border across that, you're never going to notice that. But that was the only way I could figure how to get this attached on this corner so that all of this stuff would stay the same. But I've rambled on enough. I hope this helps somebody. Wendy, I mean, not Wendy, but Cheryl, I hope. The reason I keep calling you Wendy is you look a lot like my sister from your picture on your Facebook thing. Cheryl, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you know how to reach out to me. You can do it here on YouTube or on Facebook, either one. But, you know, if you're wanting the same look, front and back, that's how you start that first block. You ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. I'm calling it a day. Hopefully this video does make it to YouTube, because I have no idea what it sounds like, looks like, or anything else until I watch it. And then I got to figure out how to upload a video of this length to YouTube. Have a great evening, guys. Bye.